Hello internet friends, Napyet here. Why do I still play Skyrim? This is a question I'm going to talk about in this video, and I'm hoping that you might tell me why you're still playing the game, or if you're not playing Skyrim, what stopped you and why you're not playing now. This was a topic that came up for me the other night when I was watching a few videos. I was actually watching one that was comparing Morrowind to Skyrim, generally favouring Morrowind over Skyrim. Yet it occurred to me that I don't have Morrowind on my computer and I have no desire to play it at this stage, yet I still play Skyrim all the time. Why are none of the other RPGs I've played in the intervening 6 or 7 years, why are they not on my computer? I wrote a list of just some of the RPGs I've played. Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, it's not on my hard drive. Fallout, all the Fallout 3, 4 and New Vegas. I know 3 was before Skyrim, but still, I'm not playing those now, am I? Mountain Blade, the Mountain Blade games, Pillars of Eternity, Prey, Shadowrun, all the Shadowrun games, the South Park games, State of Decay, a kind of sandbox RPG, Torchlight, Wasteland 2. I even put Star Wars The Old Republic there, even though that's an MMO. It might as well be a single player game. Those are not on my hard drive. Just today I was thinking, I really want to get back in and get my current character fighting better. He's getting trounced by people at the minute. I want to work on the smithing and I want to get his one-handed skills up so he's not such a pussy in combat. Why do I want to do that in Skyrim and none of these other games? So to give this video some structure, I decided to split it up into 6 broad categories that are important to me, I feel, and I think in combination this is might give me some idea of why it's Skyrim that I keep returning to. But it's these things in combination, I think. Anyway, the first one is character choice. Character choice means different things to different people, and there are lots of different ways that you can choose a character. But one of the important things for me is the skill system. I don't want to have to choose a character class from the very beginning. I want to start exploring the game and find my character class through gameplay. I've always liked that, particularly when you don't know a game and you're just starting out. So I was drawn to Skyrim initially for that reason. And also it allows you to change your mind. I know, like, we talk on the internet and there's this fallacy that you have an opinion and you never change it, but in games it's nice to be able to change your mind and realize halfway through, or something happens to the character makes you think, I'm going to stop thieving, I'm going to be a sorcerer. So it has the skill-based system. It's not the only game to have the skill-based system though, is it? But that's one thing in its favor. The other big thing about character choice for me is the idea that it's not to do with whether it's a voice protagonist or not, although that is the most obvious case of something that takes away player choice when a character already has a voice. It's more that the character has a predefined background and you're kind of playing him through a story. I wrote down a list of games that are RPG games that you might think I would think, well, why have I not played these games? And Mass Effect, The Witcher 3, Watch Dogs, Dishonored. They all have this element of the character is already predetermined for you. And that is something I don't like in games. I like to build my own character. And that's a big part of freedom of choice, and Skyrim has that. And it's not about character customization for me, really. A game that I've played quite a lot, Terraria, has very simple character choices. You just choose the trousers, the pants, the hairstyle, skin color, some basic things, but it's a very basic pixel character. But I would prefer that. I would prefer a very basic suite of things that you can do to create your character to a very in-depth, fully voiced character who I haven't created myself. One of the big reasons I play games is to experience my own story and put my own slant on things. If I just wanted to watch a story and play through a story, no, you can't play it. You would be into movies. I've always felt like that, and I know it's not a hard and fast thing. There are games that break that. For me, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance at the moment, and that has a predetermined character and a fully voiced character. So none of these things are hard and fast rules, but generally speaking, that's what I gravitate to. And so Skyrim falls into that category, doesn't it? So I'll go on to the next thing. Like I say, it's a combination of things, I think, why a game speaks to you so much. But after playing games for so long, you kind of forget the little things. The little things are so important in a game, whether or not it really clicks with you. And these can be very, very silly things. For instance, for me in an RPG, it's really important that I can put down the weapons. And if my default is a dagger or a gun, I don't like that. I like to be unarmed. I like to be able to put down the gun, put down the dagger, and at the lowest common denominator, run around in my underpants and punch people in the face. And then everything on top of that kind of just scales up from that. But there's a level of kind of, right, I really feel like this character is a representation of me in the game. He can run around in his underpants, which I do an awful lot in life. These are all things that have only occurred to me as I've really started to think about this stuff, and they're early things that made the game endearing to me. So this is another thing, the ability to de-knock your arrow. I don't think you can do this in Morrowind or Oblivion without mods, and it's in an inordinate number of RPGs, this very basic thing. You draw your arrow, ready to take a shot, and then you can't change your mind. You can't put the arrow down. Your only option as a sentient being, having drawn this arrow, is then to fire it, or fire it at the ground. That gets on my tits. It really annoys me. So I remember playing Skyrim, and it was one of the first things I tried to do, because it had annoyed me so much in so many other games. Can I draw my bow and then change my mind about firing? I can! Oh, thank you, developers. Another of those little things is kind of one of the reasons I couldn't get into World of Warcraft was the really stupid armor. Really, really stupid armor. And I know that there's insane kind of ornate armor in Skyrim, but you have the option of not wearing it, and it doesn't all have stupid huge shoulder pads. It's not like the 12-year-old's fever dream anime. It's vaguely realistic. And you have the option in Skyrim of not wearing the stupid ornate armor if you don't want. You can, through enchantment and smithing, wear the basic iron armor and look like a Viking, just a Viking soldier if you want to. Those are just some of the things that I look for in every RPG, but that Skyrim had from the very beginning, and I remember thinking, yes, this is the game for me. Number 3 is freedom to travel and explore, and I think it's something that we look for in all RPGs, and all RPGs do it to a greater or lesser degree. But when you say freedom to travel and explore, I mean, can you go anywhere in the game from literally the beginning? Some games allow you to do it to, they have subquests and they have little side areas that you could go to before you follow the main quest. But Skyrim definitely is one of the best examples of a game where you can pretty much go everywhere you want to from the very beginning. And I think this keys into why you're still playing it now, replayability. I think when you first play the game, I certainly did. I just followed the guy down into, once you're out of Helgen, I followed the guy down into Riverwood, and even though I could have veered off at that point and gone to Winterhold, you probably don't do it when you first play through. But probably one of the first things that you do when you start up the game again, having finished with one character, is if they say go straight ahead, you will go right or you will go left deliberately. And that's a big thing in replayability. If you can kind of skip the tutorial or just get to a point where you very quickly get to the point where the world opens up, then that's a plus in terms of replayability. And just thinking about Kingdom Come Deliverance at the moment, I've got to a point where I've realized really the world has not opened up at all. I've almost been doing the tutorial up to this point, and it's taken me 5 hours or so to get there. I wonder if that game will have as much replayability and a much sense of freedom if you have to play through that entire tutorial every time you start a game. Who knows? But Skyrim has it there, and that's one of the big draws for me. Combat. again, I'm thinking about this video where they were talking about the Morrowind combat and how you swing. It's all stat based. So you swing your sword and visually you're hitting the enemy, but the stat system that is running everything behind the scenes and the number game is saying you missed that guy. They did away with that for Skyrim, but they probably didn't go as far as some people wanted them to go. They wanted a bit more level of strategy and options in combat. For me, I kind of want this middle ground where it's not too complicated, but it's not as absurd as the Morrowind thing. I want it to visually look cool, but let's compare it to something like Mount and Blade on the harder difficulties. If you play it, quotes, properly, what you're looking to do is when the enemy swings at you, a high swing, you have to high block. If they swing at your legs, you have to low block. You have to really pay attention in combat. And for me, that gets really annoying. It's more annoying than anything. I just want one block button, time the block, and then your character will block wherever they need to block. So I'm not looking for super realistic and tactical combat. It kind of, for me, that gets into the realm of fighting games and so on. And I don't necessarily play RPGs to be playing a fighting game. Essentially, it needs to be fun. There's a lot that could be done to the combat in Skyrim to make it better, and can be done now with mods. I'll talk about mods in a little while, but is it at its core nice, kind of responsive and fun? Yeah, it is. And the cinematic combat makes it more interesting to just do over and over again. I don't know why I'm comparing it to Morrowind so much, probably because I was watching that comparison video, but there's a lot of number crunching and tweaking of characters and using different effects and skills in that game, but the combat never looks very interesting or dynamic. At least in Skyrim, it looks dynamic with the cinematic kills and stuff. And I always find it fun, the combat, even though I acknowledge the flaws. So number 5, I thought, well, I was looking up something to do with my current character, and in doing so, I came across a lot of information that I wasn't aware of, and it dawned on me that I still haven't seen a lot of what's in this game. There's still more to explore. Certain enemies I haven't seen, certain places I haven't been, certain quests I haven't done after all this time. And that's pretty awesome for a game that this is, and I'm talking about without mods. So that's a huge game. And when we rag on Bethesda for maybe not having the next Elder Scrolls game out yet, and it's taking years and years and years, you kind of forget how big these games really are, how much stuff is in there. For me to have been a moderate to hardcore player, I've been consistently playing Skyrim on and off since its release, but I'm not the most hardcore of hardcore. For me to still feel like, well, there's loads for me to see in this game, it's pretty special, pretty awesome. So yeah, it's just a reminder of how big this game is, and that's still why I return to it. And finally, obviously, we've got to talk about modding. And everyone knows that modding extends the lifespan of a game. Modding can often seem quite niche, but once you get into things like Minecraft, and I think Skyrim as well, I don't think the modding is niche anymore. I've just created my first mod. Modding is kind of almost mainstream when you think about Skyrim and Minecraft, the number of people who are modding games like this. And the modding in Skyrim specifically, it's so in-depth at this point and so rich in terms of what you can add to the game. It can change the game and have you return to it in a new way. It's happened to me on several occasions. I played through the game initially, finished it, left it alone for a while, came back to it, got that little urge to play again, and thought, right, I'll add some mods this time. And I added one of the follower mods, which turned the game from a single player game where you occasionally maybe have one companion with you into a party of adventurers going through this world together. And that happened again later when I discovered Immersion's kind of survival mods that make the game into a survival sandbox. That changes the game again. So I think the effect of modding can't really be underestimated. And I've heard from some people who really dislike that. The kind of like, you have to add mods in order for this game to be good. It's not a good game then. Well, I disagree with that on a number of levels, I disagree with the assertion that it's not a good game in and of itself. I think it is. And also a game that is kind of open to modding and gets better with modding. Even if a game was poor initially, just the fact that you mod it and then it's good doesn't mean you don't play that game, because on some kind of principle, fundamentally, it's not a great game. It's only great now you've added mods. It seems perverse. Like, well, it doesn't matter. It's great. It's great at this stage, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, the effect of modding can't be underestimated. And you know, if it gets someone like me actually trying to create things in the game, that's a completely new level of engagement with the game, isn't it? So why am I still playing Skyrim now? It's a combination of all those reasons together in this stew that makes it the game that I return to. But having discussed all that, if someone said, why do you play Skyrim and not any of these other games? I still can't come up with a definitive answer. It just something makes me want to keep returning to that game. And one day it could be a particular mod. One day it's a desire to create a new character. One day it's a desire to see a new dungeon, whatever it may be. I just keep returning to that game. So let me know. I wanted this to be a discussion. So let me know why you still play Skyrim. And if you don't play Skyrim, let me know that as well. I've told you my thoughts about that, but you know, everyone's opinion is valid and no one is right or wrong. In this respect of whether or not you enjoy the game, you either do or you don't. You're not right or wrong to enjoy it or not enjoy it. There are some things that can be objectively kind of quantified, but whether or not you enjoy a game is entirely your prerogative, isn't it? So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Thank you for listening to me kind of ramble on and discuss this through. It was just something that really occurred to me after watching those videos and playing and wanting to get back into Skyrim again. I just thought, why am I still playing this game? And now I've discussed it out. I look forward to hearing from you. I've been Napyet. I will see you in the next video. Do like and share this one if you get chance. It helps me grow the channel and do the YouTube thing. All right, take care. Bye, 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 bye.
No. No.